Thank you, Paul, and thank you to the Resources Rising Stars team to allow us to tell the Great Western story. Look, I know there's probably a few in the audience that are just patiently waiting for Koshy to come on, but you're going to hear a good story that you'll be the envy of all your friends. We're about, as Paul said, to drill really large, probably one of the largest copper gold targets that anyone will be drilling this year. And these types of targets ordinarily aren't found within a junior exploration company's portfolio, and certainly not one with the market capitalisation that we have. We've got a really experienced board and management team, and those in the audience will probably notice and know a few of the names on that list. I'm the managing director. I'm a geologist. I've been in the industry for over 25 years and got a 50-50 mix of mining and exploration experience. We've got a really strong cash position, very low corporate overheads. We're able to put greater than 70% of our funds directly into the ground, and the way we do that is that we don't pay our non-execs anything, not cash, options or shares. They're our larger shareholders. They're looking to get their payday with a big uptick that a giant discovery will bring, and that's good for all shareholders. We've got really supportive cornerstone shareholders. Those in the audience will probably know our top 20. They're chair people, managing directors of some of Australia's largest listed companies. Okay, so these big copper gold targets that we're talking about, it's Oval and Oval South. They're located in Western Australia, between and to the north of Meekatharra and Wiluna. Now, what we think we've got here is Winu or Havieron style intrusive related copper gold targets. And those that don't know Winu is a monster. It sits in Rio Tinto's assets. It's 2.8 million tonnes of copper, 7.8 million ounces of gold, a real monster, and that's what we think we've got with Oval and Oval South. And coincidentally, Rio actually identified Oval back in the 90s. They completed a big electromagnetic survey that's probably a little bit outdated, but Oval showed up as a big electromagnetic high. It was their priority one target. They went out and drilled it. They drilled down to 232 metres. They hit siltstones and narrow bands of shale units, and shales can often throw up false anomalies. They felt that using the data that they had at the time that the anomaly had been tested and walked away. Now this target lay dormant for over a decade. Great Western picked it up as a big broad land package over the Yerrada Basin that hosts it back in 2010. They completed a more modern electromagnetic survey, but because of the size of the land package and the work that needed to be done, entered into a joint venture with Sandfire Resources that continued the work. Now, Sandfire Resources, they did really good work on the project under the joint venture. They remodelled the data, and they realised that the conductor that Rio had gone to test was actually 70 metres below their terminated drill hole, so it hadn't been tested. They got really excited. They put the geology together. They designed drill holes, started the permitting process, but by this stage, they were building their project in Botswana. They picked up Matcha in Spain. They were stretched. They exited Australian exploration completely, handing back this project to us 100% after spending $4.5 million on it. Okay, this slide, this is the data that Rio didn't have. This is a more modern data. And as you can see, you don't have to be a geophysicist. That black line there, that's the Rio Tinto drilled hole, and the conductor is sitting 70 metres below it. If Rio had this data, they would have continued drilling this hole, and I wouldn't be talking to you about it today. Now, these big deposits, it's nice to have one anomaly, but there's always multiple coincident geological attributes to make them what they are. Part of the good work that Sandfire had done was a big, extensive airborne gravity survey, quite expensive, and what that showed is that the the gravity highs sit perfectly over the top of the electromagnetic anomalies. And why is that important? The EM, the electromagnetics, are saying that the rocks here are chargeable. The gravity is saying that they're highly dense. So we're interpreting that as being metal-rich sulfide mineralisation. Just like we knew, just to the east or to the right of those images there is a big gravity low, which is interpreted as a buried granitoid intrusion. And right on the edge of it is a pimple, just like we knew, that's got a magnetic anomaly. We interpret that as being the source of metal-rich fluids and heat, effectively the engine for a mineral system. It's allowed fluids to ascend up into favourable stratigraphy of the Ureter Basin. Very similar rocks to Winu, siltstone, carbonate, sandstone rocks, the type of rocks that will rip out copper and gold from these ascending fluids and deposit it in their layers. But probably most importantly is the location on the Ida Fault. So the Ida Fault, big fertile crustal scale feature, over 500 kilometres long, hosts the Perseverance, Mount Keith nickel deposits, the Davyhurst gold deposit, the Grusa is on it as well. It has tapped the mantle and allowed metal-rich fluids to ascend to the surface. And at the location of Oval and Oval South, that fault is intersected by Geoscience Western Australia interpreted regional structure, a big growth fault, and we interpret that as focusing fluids into the basin sediments. We're going to go and drill this at the end of this month, early October. Our field crews have nearly finished putting all the drill pads in and tracks in as we speak. We've got partial funding, co-funding by the Western Australian Government, which is a strong endorsement for the projects. We're going to go and test the coincident electromagnetic and gravity highs with 4 drill holes ranging in depth between 600 and 800 metres. We're going to drill 2 holes at Oval first, do some downhole electromagnetics to make sure we're shooting in the right spot and continue on. Now I've just got a video here that will help explain the opportunity a little better.
Great Western has highly prospective tenure, all in the Tier 1 jurisdiction of Western Australia. The Oval and Oval South targets are within GTE's 100% owned Ureter North project and located on the prolific Ida Fault that effectively runs the 500-kilometre length of the Yilgarn Craton. The fault has proven metal endowment, with several world-class deposits scattered along its length, such as the Perseverance and Mount Keith nickel deposits, and both the De Grusa and Monty copper gold deposits, just to name a few. The Ida Fault is interpreted to trend through the vastly underexplored Ureter Basin. Oval and Oval South are positioned on the intersection of the Ida Fault and the interpreted Ureter Basin Growth Fault, which we consider to be a prime location to channel and focus metal-rich mantle fluids from the fertile Ida Fault to be trapped within sedimentary rocks of the Ureter Basin. We have benefited from the work of Rio Tinto and Sandfire Resources. Rio Tinto identified the Oval anomaly in the late 1990s by an airborne tempest electromagnetic survey, where the target was defined as a conductive high. A later gravity survey was completed, which defined a coincident gravity high at Oval and Oval South. Here, we have benefited from the work of Sandfire Resources that, in joint venture with us, undertook substantial work refining this target. The gravity highs are a perfect fit with the previously identified electromagnetic anomaly. Great Western interprets that the high chargeable zone identified by the electromagnetic data, combined with the high density material defined by the gravity survey, represents a potentially giant zone of buried copper-gold rich sulfide mineralization. Rio Tinto drilled the Tempest anomaly in the early 2000s, with a hole drilled to a depth of 232 metres. The Tempest geophysical survey technique that defined the electromagnetic anomaly in 1990s for drill testing defines near-surface conductors well, but had difficulty defining deeper conductors in resistive sedimentary rocks that are found at Oval and Oval South. Rio Tinto, quite rightly with the Tempest data they had at the time, terminated the drill hole at 232 metres after intersecting interbedded siltstones and shales, with the latter unit having the potential for providing false anomalies. However, the later VTEM electromagnetic surveying that can better define electromagnetic conductors at depth and within the geological units found at Oval, defined the conductor at a depth of 300 metres, 70 metres below the Rio Tinto drilled hole. The VTEM survey also mapped the siltstone shale units well, that Rio Tinto geologists suspected could be providing a false anomaly, but defined the source of the electromagnetic conductor below this unit. Without the benefit of the VTEM survey data, Rio terminated the drill hole 70 metres before the target zone. Great Western interprets that a potential colossal discovery can be made at Oval, which we interpret to be an analogue of Rio Tinto's giant Winu intrusive-related copper-gold deposit. 4 drill holes are planned to test both targets, including drilling below Rio Tinto's previously drilled hole. Hole depths will range between 600 to 800 metres, and drilling is scheduled to commence this quarter.
It's a very compelling story. Outside of Oval and Oval South, like I said, Rio Tinto had been active in this area. Xstrata had been as well, and Sandfire. Yerrada Basin, really prospective for several different mineralisation types, including DeGrussa-style copper-gold targets, as well as sediment-hosted copper and lead-zinc base metal type deposits. Sandfire, they spent $4.5 million on this. They've handed over this big treasure trove of data, and we're going through that now. We've actually got field crews on the ground working on some of these there's some exciting targets. We're just developing our understanding on that, and I'm no doubt in the next few weeks we'll be talking to some of these targets as this new data gets interpreted. So, just in summary, one of the key messages throughout this conference is that we need large discovery, and that will reinvigorate the whole industry. And we're hopeful that we're going to be drilling one of the largest copper-gold targets that anyone will complete this year. These targets aren't ordinarily found in a junior company's exploration portfolio, certainly not one with the market cap that we have. So if we get what we think, a Winu-style intrusive-related copper-gold target, the returns are going to be significant. Even if you just own a few shares of Great Western, if it comes in what we think it's going to be, a Winu copper-gold system, then it's going to be life-changing. All right, thank you.